What's up YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we'll be hunting a $25 box of pennies that I picked up from a local Fifth Third bank that was inside of a Kroger nearby. And of course you can see the box is already open. I always open these while I'm at the bank to make sure we've got good circulated rolls to hunt, which I'm happy to report we do. I'm excited to get into these. Hopefully we'll find something valuable, so let's jump into it. So a couple of things before we get started. We will have our handy dandy scale nearby so we can weigh these pennies to make sure we can separate our zinc from our copper. Copper pennies start at 1982, or really they end at 1982, and everything earlier is copper, and they weigh 3.1 grams instead of 2.5, so we have our scale ready. We need a search list, and today we're using our Strike It Rich with Pocket Change book, which is a fantastic resource if you don't have one. I do have a link in the description down below to my Amazon link where I make a small commission if you happen to purchase one. But I love the book because it jumps in and has great pictures as well as values both in circulated and uncirculated condition. And it covers everything from pennies all the way up to Eisenhower and Susan B. Anthony dollars. And actually, I think it even has some of the Sacagaweas in here, if I recall. It does. So this is what we're going to use as our error list. And of course, all of my penny hunts were on that quest to fill out our Whitman Lincoln albums, and I really need to start filling in this 1909 to 1940 book. That's where we are missing the most coins. So with that, we'll go ahead and open one roll together here. This one looks kind of ugly, so let's do it. Got a nice circulated ender there. We will be looking for those rare varieties because, believe it or not, while we love looking for silver and our nickels and our dimes and our quarter because that's an instant gratification and it's a little bit easier to find, some of the largest, most valuable things you can find are still in pennies. There are some rare varieties out there that can be, you can sell for, honestly, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Most of the time in our hunts, though, we are finding a lot of copper. So here's a 1980. I'm just going to quickly run through these to see if I can pull some of that copper out. Here's a 1978, which we know is copper. A lot of times you can tell just from the color. And when I can't tell, I throw it on the scale. So there's a 76. There is a 19, I can't really tell. It's another 1976. And I will go back through these a little bit slower, hunting for those varieties. One of my favorites to look for are the 98, 99, and 2000 wide AM, as well as like the 1988 transitional. But as you can see here, I'm holding it. We've got our first wheat penny on the hunt. We've got ourselves a 1955. Get that a little closer for you to see. It's really grungy, really ugly. I do have my microscope off camera. We've got ourselves a 1955 Denver right here. So our first wheat penny of the hunt. As I said, it's an ugly one, but we will take it. Let's see here. That's another copper. Looks like a 1967. There is a 1964 Denver, it looks like. There's a 1982, so this is a large date 1982. You can tell by the size of the two, and we are at 3.1 grams, so we know that that is going to be copper. Let's keep on going here. Now, I'm not going to put every roll of this box on camera. I just wanted you guys to see us going through at least the first roll. And this is kind of how I do it these days, is I go through and I pull out all the copper, and then I will go back through and look for various varieties on anything that was left behind, as well as go back through our copper in case there was any variety like a DDO or DDR that's out there. So I'm going to go ahead and go off camera and do that. If we do find something of value, I'll bring you back in and we'll talk all about it. So bringing you in here for roll number 2, and it's nothing special, but here towards the very end of that roll, we did come across our very first ever 2024 Denver found in a circulated hunt. So this will be a book filler. As you can see, it's not gorgeous. But along the way, we did come across a nice 1974, which we'll check against the book. And I did get one 2009 Philly, which this has the 4 commemorative reverses. And this one, there is a DDR that we always look for. Unfortunately, that one doesn't have it. So we're going to go ahead and put this on the board as a find and keep on hunting. So I'm getting into roll number 19 here, but before I show you why we're getting in, here's all the copper that we have found through rolls 18. It's been a pretty good little box here. We've, as you can see, a small roll maybe had 3 or 4 in it, but we've had some loaded with about 10, 12, 13 coppers, which is pretty cool. I have pulled a bunch of stuff. None of it is really numismatically relevant. Some 2024 Ds I'm going to compare from my book. A couple of copper stunners from my book. And of course, the 2009s, we always pull those because they were a special year where they did 4 commemorative reverses. And of course, our 1955D. But here we are, roll number 19. I just got it kind of pushed out here on the mat. And the 4th penny in, I could see the edge. So I knew we had ourselves a wheat penny. I haven't looked at the date yet, so let's have a look together. We got ourselves a 1939. Now, that's kind of an oldie for me. That'll definitely go in that first book. I have no idea if I need it or not, but excited to find a pre-40s wheat penny. So pretty cool. Hopefully we'll find a few more till we get to the end of the box. Well, real quick, I couldn't wait. I went ahead and pulled out my book, and of course, I've already got the 1939. Now, it may be an upgrade, but unfortunately, it won't be a book filler. So we are 25 rolls, exactly halfway through the box, and we haven't found a whole lot else to speak of. I did bring in for our 2 wheat pennies. I did pull a 1959 Denver, and if you don't know, 58 was the last year of the wheat penny. 59 is the first year of the Lincoln Memorial cent. So I usually try to keep track of how many of those we find. I have been pulling kind of nicer looking coins that might be upgrades for my albums, and any super red or really nice copper pennies I've been pulling as well. We have done well on copper so far. This is the first 25 rolls. I have taken the cup weight out. We're just over a pound right now, 17.9 ounces, which is 16 ounces is a pound. So a little over a pound in the first half. So if we keep this up, we'll probably hit our average of 2 to 2.2 pounds of copper. So into roll number 26, we've come across our next wheat penny. Haven't checked it out yet. Let's see, we've got the decent looking reverse, and we've got ourselves a 1957 Denver. Bringing you back in here on roll number 32, we've got another wheat penny. Looks like a little bit of an older one. Let's check it out. All right, it is. We've got ourselves a 1937. And again, not sure if I need that for my book, but I'm excited to see. Roll number 35, our next wheat penny. This one came up obverse facing. It's kind of a dirty one. Looks like we've got ourselves a 1946. And unfortunately, if we had the San Francisco, we could look for that San Francisco over Denver repunched mint mark, but we just have the Philly. We are into the home stretch on roll number 43, and we have our next wheat penny. I think it's the 4th or 6th one actually on the hunt. 1957D came up obverse facing. Got a little bit of ugliness there, but not a bad looking wheat penny for being as old as it is. So we got 2 rolls left. There's roll number 50, getting through roll number 49, and we have our next find. We got ourselves a 1955. Now, for those of you that don't know, there is a DDO on this, not on this particular coin, but on the 1955. There is a DDO that if you get a really severe one, they can be worth quite a bit of money. I'll go ahead and put on screen what that thing's worth in higher grades so that you can see. But we started the hunt with a 1955D. It was an ugly one right there. And we're getting towards the very end with a much prettier 1955 Philly. Well, we have reached the end of the hunt, and I'm going to take you through what we pulled out of the box and talk a little bit about it. So what we had here was some pre-1940 Wheaties, which I was really happy to find. We had a 37 and a 39. Unfortunately, both of those holes are already filled in our albums, but it was really nice to find a couple of pre-40s. We had a cruddy 46, a 55 and a 55D, and a couple of 57Ds. So none of those are going to be upgrades or book fillers, but I do hang on to all my Wheaties and I put them in rolls. I did pull 3 1959Ds just because it was the last year of the, or it was the first year of the Lincoln Memorial cent. So I just like to keep track of how many of those I find in a box, which was 3 in this particular hunt. We did get a handful of red and pretty nice copper. None of it upgrades any of my books that's up here, but again, I roll my red copper separately and hang on to it from my brown copper. A lot of people ask me why I do that, and it's simply because copper pennies are actually worth, and I haven't looked lately, but typically 2.5 to 3 cents in copper in every 1 cent copper penny. So I can't sell them today. Nobody's really, well, I won't say nobody. Some people are buying them. There's not a huge market for it. It's something I'm just doing for the future or maybe to give to my children. Now, when it comes to stuff that is going to go in the books, we did find a new 2024D, and I kept the nicest one. I probably came across about a dozen of these, and I did find an 82 small date Denver in zinc that is an upgrade for my book. So for those of you that don't know, the 82, there's a small date and a large date. There is also a copper and a zinc variety. So the 82 Denver small date copper is worth a fortune if you can find one, but there's only a handful of them in known existence. And just to show you guys really quickly, the small date is the one that is actually super defined. If this 2 comes to a point here and a real sharp point here, you know you've got the small date. The large date's kind of a messy looking 2. But that's going to upgrade my book, and this 1994 Denver is a slight upgrade for my book as well. And I'll show you guys the state of the books here in just a second. We did get a bunch of the 2009 formative year pennies, a couple of the professional life, and one of the Capitol Dome. None of those are upgrades for my book because I actually got mint state version of these in rolls from the bank. Not when they came out. They were actually from someone else's collection dump that I happened to pick up. But other than that, we don't have a whole lot else to show for it. Here was our cup full of copper from the first half of the box. And here is our cup of copper from the second half of the box. Now, I'm not going to take the weight of the cups out, but we'll call it relatively negligible. But we got 17.7 ounces in that one, so just over a pound. And we got 18.3 ounces in that one, which again, that does not take the cup weight out. So the what I showed you earlier in the video is this is a little bit heavier because now it does include the cup, but 18.3 ounces. So 2.2, 2.3 probably pounds of copper in this hunt, which is pretty typical for the metro Atlanta area. What we're struggling to find is our Wheaties. I average 6 to 8, maybe 9 wheat pennies a box these days. So I'll go ahead and put the current copper value of all this copper on the screen as soon as I go figure out what it is, because I don't have it handy. But I'll put the copper weight up there. Go down in the comments below. Take a guess before I put it up here. See if you get it right. So before we go, really quick state of the books. Here's the 1909 to 1940. As I've shown you guys in previous videos, we're not making a whole lot of damage on this book. Only probably 10 or 12 pennies in there. Our 1941 to 74 is looking pretty good. We still have a handful of holes and a whole bunch of coins we could upgrade. But from 1958 to 1974, we pretty much have all red BU coins, and it's looking pretty good. Now, also keep in mind, I could fill these books a lot quicker because I do have a lot of pennies from coin collections and things that I've bought, but I'm only filling these books based on my coin roll hunts. As for 75 to 2013, it is complete, but I do have a handful of upgrades that could be had. The rest are looking pretty good. So when I do hunt, I usually try to pull, again, the shiny red ones, and if they happen to be upgrades, that's great. If I don't happen to find too many red ones, I just don't bother. As for the 2014 to current, I do have that 2014 Denver that I'll go ahead and pop in right there to complete that book. And of course, I have the 2 upgrades that I talked about earlier that I'll punch down off camera. With that, I think I'm going to end the video here because I don't have a whole lot else to show you other than one thing I used in this video that did make my life a little bit easier. I'll put a link in the description down below for this little sort of standing magnifying glass I got off of Amazon. As you can see, it folds, it's configurable, it's got lights. But if you set this thing up correctly, I kind of did it like this and held the pennies really far away from my old eyes. And I was able to examine the pennies a lot faster. So this is something I'm going to start using in my penny hunts. Supposedly, this is a 30X, and this is more like a jeweler's loop down here in the bottom. So, and I want to say this thing was like 13 or 14 bucks, but just something I was trying out. Check that out in the description down below if you're interested in one. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, let me know. Drop on down below. Leave me a like and a comment. If you are new to the channel, make sure you do click on that subscribe button and then click that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I release a new video. I'd really appreciate it. Special shout out to all my channel members. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. I know I haven't been posting as much as I used to, but I've been just really, really busy, and I'm hoping to get back into it, but I'll just get videos out as quickly as I can. So with that, I hope you guys are all doing well. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.